Hello world, and welcome to the podcast for educators passionate about computing and AI. I'm Meg Wang, the editor of Hello World magazine at the Raspberry Pi Foundation. And today we're coming to you from the CSTA conference in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm joined by superstar Julie York, who is a high school teacher and CSTA fellow. Hi Julie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So could you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the work that you do?
Sure. I am a computer science teacher and media teacher in South Portland High School in South Portland, Maine. I've been teaching for over 20 years, and I teach classes like media literacy, intro to computer science, animation and game design, digital graphics. I have basically the best job in the world.
Oh, that's so cool. That's fantastic. And since we're here at the CSTA conference, could you tell me personally why you feel like events like these are so important?
Oh, I love events like these. I love events anyway. I'm not one to turn down a committee meeting either. I can say yes to everything. But I think events like these are really important because they bring us all together. And as a computer science teacher, you tend to be in your own silo. For years, I've taught alone. For years, I've been the only one in my district who's been really jazzed about computer science. So coming here is this great celebration and get together and PD that everyone around me is just as excited about the things I'm excited about.
Yeah.
So it kind of reinforces that I'm not alone in a very big way. And I really look forward to it every year. Every year, this is my favorite conference for teachers because I just get to nerd out and have an amazing time.
Well, part of nerding out too, like obviously we're living in an age where like things are changing so fast. My experience of you in terms of like working with the article is that you're quite, you're very good with technology. You're somebody who really likes to kind of get stuck in and learn about it ahead of time instead of waiting for it to kind of happen to you. What do you feel is like the vibe at this year's conference in terms of how people are feeling about AI, how it affects their teaching?
I feel like, so AI isn't as new as it used to be. So I feel like we're all not as shell-shocked. But I feel like the vibe is a lot of us are, depending on what district you're in and whether or not your district even allows the use of AI, and depending on how much you've used it yourself, I feel like a lot of us are excited but also concerned. I think a lot of computer science teachers are like, I really am excited to see new technology coming out and to try new things, but I'm also a little bit like, I don't know, I don't want the robot to do everything. And I do like a world that has water and electricity, and boy, it's real nice to have trees outside, so there are things that even I find myself being a little bit concerned about. So I feel like that's the vibe with everyone. And I feel like there's a lot of tools that we can use now, and that's always exciting. As a teacher, having more tools available to you, having more options on how to plan, prepare for classes. But at the same time, again, there's that, is this safe for my kids to use? And is this something I'm gonna have to eventually pay for, So I feel like we're all just kind of like, well, it's here, and it's not as scary, but it's also still unknown and still kind of a little bit eggshelly.
Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of AI tools, that is the perfect segue into your article that you wrote for this issue. So it's hot off the presses, it's just come out today. So our issue on critical thinking in the age of AI, you've written a really cool article about AI-supported app building. So can you tell our audience a little bit more about your article and how it relates to critical thinking in the age of AI?
Sure. My article is just about how when I first started using AI, I used AI in a way that it couldn't program. It couldn't do something as hard and complex as programming. And a couple of years ago at CSTA, I believe when we were in Las Vegas, I had said to a whole group of people, I was on a panel, that who here has tried using AI to program an app? And we all raised our hands. And I was like, who here has had AI fail miserably? And we all raised our hands. And then somebody in the audience came up to see me afterwards, and he was a software technician, and he told me, have you ever tried Lovable? And I was like, what is Lovable? And so he introduced me to this app, and I went and tried it, and he was from the industry, which was really cool. I went and tried it, and then it was like a light bulb. This is amazing. And I started thinking, how is this going to change how my students learn? And another CS teacher that was there, we were doing registration shifts together because volunteering is fun. And the other CS teacher, she made herself an app. So I made an app that translated. I have 52 languages spoken in my school.
52?
Yeah, so at the time when I made this app, I wanted an app that live translated into multiple languages at once, like a caption generator.
Amazing.
But I wanted it to be multiple languages dictated, not just one, because often I need Portuguese and French, right? So I built this app in like an hour, and the teacher that was sitting next to me, she built herself an app for flying drones that would check permissions and check maps and all this other stuff. And she built it for herself in an hour. And that's when I realized, I thought to myself, okay, if we're computer science teachers and we're getting this excited about tools we can build for ourselves, what would it be like if students could do that? And also, what would it be like if other teachers in my building could do that? Like, what if everybody in the building, like the librarian or the English teacher or the health teacher, or have a special ed teacher that I work with now, like what if any teacher could build a tool for themselves and use it like within an hour or two to do the things that they need to do? And so it made me think, like, how exciting is it to be teaching computer science now, where we're at a point where building a computer program is easier and more accessible than it's ever been. And it's not like we're all going to become the best programmers, and it's not like we'll fully be able to take all the bugs out, nor are we replacing computer scientists, because there's obvious pitfalls when you use AI to create. But the idea of it being more accessible just really blew my mind. Just utterly, like, I was like, let's go. And I went on this I was like, I want to talk to teachers, I want to talk to students. I went a little hog wild, as I am prone to do.
That's amazing, because it sounds like your enthusiasm was really infectious and got other people involved.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about how you got other teachers that are not computer science specialists to build apps. Like, was it that you were kind of just talking in the staff room, or you were invited people to come and learn? Or?
So my school let us do a PD where teachers could run the PD. So I ran a session at the school. I ran a couple of sessions at my school. I did a session for a local female leader organization in Maine. So I did a session for them, and then I did a session at the state conference. And I've just tried to do as many like kind of intro sessions on, hey, what if we did these things? And so I've had, the great, I'd say pretty luck. I've had the great luck and the great opportunity to go speak to different teachers about it. And what I've done is I've just tried to tell teachers, like, hey, I'm here and I really love doing this. If any of you need help, I would love to help you. And like I said, I have the best job, right? So my room is where students learn video. It's where they learn making. It's where they learn digital graphics. It's where they learn to take apart computers, put them together. My room is a space meant to create. So I'm trying harder to reach out to other teachers and be like, we can create too. Making stuff is fun. And if it's easy enough, if it's something that will help them, I found that teachers really engage. Like the special ed teacher that I have, he doesn't really like computers, but boy does he really like his coaching, and he does a lot of work with basketball. And so he's built himself an app that helps him, and I don't quite understand what his app does because I don't really understand basketball that much.
Fair enough.
But he's tried to tell me, and I'm like, sure,
yeah,
absolutely. And he came across a problem eventually. So he's using an app, he's using it free, he's not paying for anything. He's been every week when he gets more credits, he's been going in and working on it bit by bit. So he's learning how to break his problems down. He's learning all that computational thinking that I want, right? He's actually one of my old students too. I've been teaching for over 20 years, so he's one of I had him years ago. Aww. And so he came back to me and he's like, Julie, I need to figure out my data that's coming back is too much. And I'm like, oh, let's talk about filters, John. and I'm casually sliding in some so what about filters, John? Could we filter the data? And he's like, what does that mean? And I'm like, which is, I think, really fun because it's something that helps him, it helps his students, and if he likes it, he might tell his students hey, this is useful. It's not gate-kept anymore. It's not something that nobody can do, which is, I think, the most important part of what we do,
And you also mentioned in your article, and you've kind of said it now in terms of thinking about it as having fun, but also it's about looking under the hood, isn't it? And that is really where you're engaging other educators and also your students into kind of thinking more about AI and just that critical thinking piece, isn't it? Because yeah, they're having lots of fun, but at the same time, they're actually learning, even though they don't know it.
They're learning, and what I really like about it too is that they're learning based on problems they're trying to solve.
Yes.
So I really like that what they're doing is they're thinking of it like, how will this help me? Which is why we would want to learn anyway. We always tell students it should be relevant, you know? And then if they can build something that helps others,
Yeah.
chef's kiss, you know? And when I'm working with teachers, I always warn them, I'm like, okay, so let's have some guardrails. You know, we can create anything, but maybe we should think a little bit about AI. You know, like there is a valid reason to be concerned. Like one person I was working with wanted to create an app where you'd put all the student information in.
Okay.
And I was like, absolutely, you know what? No. And we had a long discussion about why it wasn't secure and why you shouldn't, you know, put in student information and the laws and whatnot. And it came from a place of they wanted to make things easier. And it came from a place where they were going to use a tool that helped them, but they didn't fully understand like that piece where it's like maybe not. Maybe we don't input all the students' information into a service that you don't own that is connectable to anything. Let's talk about cybersecurity, you know? So I feel like it's one of those things where I would rather make mistakes and learn, make safe mistakes.
Yes.
Like I don't want to make mistakes that involve people getting hurt. But like making safe mistakes and learning, I feel like is the best way that we learn as a human organism. So like I think it's like, you know, play and making your own stuff using AI can really do that for you. Yeah, it's fun. You should try it.
I think I will. No, because you gave such great tips in your article too. I know you said like these are some nifty websites you can try.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to actually the app that you made for your students. So for them, what was their reaction when you're like, hey, you guys, like, you know, I made this app and actually it's so that we can live transcribe the lesson. So how did they react? Did they ask you more questions about the app?
It's really fun. It's like being the smartest teacher in the building. And they were like, excuse you, you made this? And I was like, yes. I didn't use that one as much, so I made another app.
Okay, cool.
I made another app. So I made the translator app, and it worked, but the problem is that some students don't read their language.
Oh, okay, yes.
So the problem that I encountered is like, if you're a multilingual student, you might understand your language if it's spoken, but not read. So it's like, oh, okay, so I've learned a lot from that app. I'm like, actually, maybe it's better if like, je parle français versus like having it up on the board, right? So learning their language, or at least little words, was what I learned from that. But what I did is I made this other app, and all my kids were like blown away. And it's the simplest app. So the problem as a teacher, here's the problem. Okay. When you form groups, student groups, it's like playing football and putting together teams and knowing which kids can't work together and knowing which kids could work together and knowing which kids need which kids. And you get like a board going where you have like lines going every which way, and then sometimes you still screw up because you're human. So I built this app, and it was a grouping app. And what I did is I put it together as like, I don't want to group students anymore. I'm tired of it. It's too tedious, it's hard. So I created this app where students log in like into a classroom and they take this quiz. And on the quiz it says what roles they want to do. And you can create the roles as a teacher. So I created my roles, like some people are timekeepers, some people are organizers, some people are the speakers, some people are the ones who research. So I created all the roles and I put it into a bank, and then the kids logged on and they said what roles they want. They rank which roles, and then they say, I never want to do this. So if you have a kid who's like, I hate caring about people's feelings. Like, I never want to be an empath, right? So they put in that they never wanted to be an empath. And then I click a magic button and it sorts all the kids. It sorts all the kids. It doesn't collect any of their data. It collects just their name and a little emoji they get to pick. They never log in, no data, no nothing, right? So I built this app and I started using it with all my classes. And my students were like, you built this? And I was like, yes. And they're like, and we can, what, it's free? And I was like, yes. And they were like, this? And I'm like, yes. And then I sent it out to all the teachers and I was like, you can use it. And other teachers have used it for other things. Like, this is the coolest part too. I had teachers in New York using it, and instead of doing roles, they did subjects. Oh, okay. So you could put like, you're doing Rome, you're doing Italy, you're doing Greece, and you can say which ones you'd prefer doing and which ones you'd never want to do, and then it sorts you by that. And it, oh God, it saves so much time. and teachers are sharing on it. And what I found that did is that kids were a little bit more like, oh, you built something, because I show them sometimes the back end.
Oh, cool.
I'm like, oh, see, this is how I fix things, this is how I do things. And the kids see all the other teachers using it, because the only information this app takes is the name of the teacher who logs in. That's it. It doesn't take anything else, it's just the name of the teacher who logs in. So my students are saying, oh, look, there's like 30 other teachers in the country using this app you built, and we use it. And they like it because they think it gives them the illusion of choice in a way. Or it's not really the illusion.
No, it is choice.
It's choice.
Yeah.
But it gives them buy-in to the groups they get put in. And grouping students is like, we've all been to school. We all know grouping students can be.
Yeah.
So it took care of so many problems at once, and it took me like an hour to build, and I maybe spent maybe an hour and a half more doing little edits here and there. And it's one of those things where it's exciting and fun and novel, and I can use it, I can not use it, you know. I wish all teachers had. I wish all teachers, the reason I wrote the article was the idea that, you know, I think there are reasons to be intimidated and scared by AI, absolutely. But I think there are also reasons to celebrate that there's something that allows us to do things that otherwise, I could have built that app. It's not a hard app to build. It just, you know, like connecting all the APIs, finding a host for it, doing everything would have taken me like a good maybe month, 2 months if I'm optimistic, of like really focusing on it. And I don't have the time to do that because I'm also teaching, you know? So it's like having that freedom was, I just think all teachers, like, what would you build if you could build anything to help yourself? You know?
Yeah. It's just like the possibilities, and I love again that you're saying that your experience with your students and the fellow teachers, they were all trying to solve a problem.
Always. How do I teach this unit in a way that's more engrossing and more interactive than a worksheet?
Yeah.
Well, have you considered doing a choose your own adventure? Yeah. You know, how can I introduce students to a unit without it feeling the same? Have you considered doing a personality test? Boy, howdy, do people like their personality tests? You know, like, which Lord of the Flies character are you? I'm not even kidding. I had an English teacher who created which Lord of the Flies character are you? My librarian, a librarian and the English teacher came to meet me, and they were like, Julie, we really want to create this internal kind of Craigslist. What they wanted is a place for teachers to post events they were doing, post things that they were looking for, and to post things they were giving away. And they built it. Now it exists. And, you know, they were like, this is what we want. We want to connect our teachers. This is what we're hoping for. Can you help us? I was like, yes. You know, one afternoon later, and that was their first app, right? So if they make another app, what will it be like? What will, you know? And it does funny things. Like, I had a science teacher who built a wave simulation.
Oh, cool.
And so he built a wave simulation, and he wanted it to play the sounds that come from waves or something along those lines. So you could upload Another One Bites the Dust from YouTube, and it would tell you the waves that came through, something, frequencies. And he did it, and it didn't work.
Okay.
And it kept saying, oh no, this is working. And we're like, no, that's not working. It's very pretty, but it's not working. And we learned a lot from doing that I was like, oh, here's something that you couldn't do right now, at least on AI. Here's something where you'd actually need a dev team and where you'd actually need to understand the problem.
Interesting.
You know?
Yeah, just the limitations of the apps that can support you, but they're, sometimes a little bit more imagination, a little bit more expertise.
A little bit more human.
Yeah,
you know, and
definitely.
my students are always worried. They're like, I'm going to lose my job. And you know, they're always worried
I love
about.
that they're worried and they don't have jobs yet.
They don't have jobs yet, but they're all worried that they're not going to have one.
Bless them.
And you know, they're all worried that for reasons that I wouldn't want to begrudge or mock, but to say, like, they're worried about lack of clean water, they're worried about data centers. They have so many big worries, and it's, you know, the kids growing up today, it's like 24/7 information being thrown in their face. It's overwhelming. And I tell kids all the time, I'm like, I am better than a machine. I might not be faster, but I am better. And so, like, what I'll always do in class is I'll have races. So in my computer science class, my kids were programming and they came across a bug, and I set up a computer next to them and I loaded up Claude, which is my favorite for coding. And I loaded up Claude and I gave it the problem and I fed it the file. And then I sat down and I had my computer up and I had the file and I fixed it in like 2 minutes. Claude took like 15, 20. And I was like, Like kids, like for real, right? Like it's like human is better.
Yeah.
It's truly like you got to celebrate those moments because they're
Totally.
people get so scared, and I feel it. But also, I don't want to write a rubric. I'd love for AI to help me write that rubric, and I don't want to sort groups anymore. It's a real headache. It really is.
You want to spend your time on the stuff that's important.
Yes, I want to talk to kids. I want to see what they're making. I want to work with them. I want to see what they'll bring to life. I don't want to fuss over groups. I just don't want to. And I think that's the exciting bit.
Definitely. Oh my goodness, Julie, I could just keep asking you questions about that. But let me kind of bring it back to a little bit back to the magazine, just because it's wonderful, because I know that you've written for us before, and so for you as someone who's written for Hello World and also as a reader of Hello World, tell us a little bit more about why you choose to engage with the magazine or the podcast, and what value you feel it brings to educators.
I love what I love about Hello World, other than the name, because it's genius. What I love about Hello World is I can't remember when I first encountered it. I got a physical copy and I was like, what is this? And was blown away. What I love about it is that it's teachers' voices. It's everybody talking, and it's everybody sharing, and it's the best part of any organization's like newsletter. So there's a bunch of organizations I belong to as a computer science teacher. I'm in CSTA Maine, and I'm in Actum, and I'm in NEA and MEA and all these organizations, right? All the acronyms.
Yeah.
Never met an acronym I didn't like. And I think when I read those newsletters, what I like is when teachers, practicing teachers or professors are sharing stuff that works, and I think that's what I love about Hello World. And I also love that Hello World allows for me to like shout from the rooftops about what my kids are doing and to share stories from my classroom. Like this one has a picture of a student that I'm bringing home to his mom. When summer vacation comes back, I can be like, he's a real person.
Yeah.
And he's in here and he knew this was happening. And I think like the idea that it allows me to not only see what other teachers are doing and to get, a diverse range of opinions, because usually it's not all like, I know I'm very pro AI, but there's always somebody who's more cautious. There's always somebody who's more reluctant. It's got like that balance of everybody's voice, and I really like it. And as a teacher, I get published, which is always kind of cool.
Absolutely.
To be like, I was published in that magazine. No big deal, right? And it makes people feel like CSTA makes me feel not alone. Hello World makes me feel valued.
Oh,
so I think that's kind of, and it makes me feel like this. I'm still part of a group.
Yes.
There's a group of teachers who have been, printed, and that's kind of within itself kind of cool to feel like. But there's something to be said for being like able to let your story go beyond your state and your classroom.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And for me too, as editor, I mean, I value so much the fact that you're sharing your expertise and just your experiences. Like, hey, this worked for me, it may not work for you. Lots of people share that, like, this didn't work for me.
And I think that's why I love teachers, because most teachers kind of get it. Like, we're like,
and they're so honest about it.
It might not work. That's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It's all gonna be okay. It'll happen next time or whatever. But I like that kind of honesty from it. And I think that you get that, like, I think being a teacher is a very hard profession.
Absolutely.
And I feel as though the further you get away from it, the more years you're out of a classroom, the more you like miss in this trauma bonding that we share. Like if you missed cell phones coming out, oh boy howdy. If you missed TikTok generation, if you missed COVID teaching, if you missed like where we are now, like it's just all these things. And I feel like when you hear from other teachers that are going through the same thing you're going through and legitimately being honest about it and trying, and that's what I think Hello World does very well, is it doesn't feel like I'm reading a research paper. I don't have an abstract. I'm not checking my sources. There's no numbers I need to look for my, like I'm listening to people say, this is what works for me, and this is what I'm trying, and here, have you considered this? And I love it. I think it's, and all the subjects change. Like this one's about AI, but the other one we wrote for wasn't. And it's like, it's fun to go, oh, it's not just, because AI feels like the huge thing.
Yes.
It feels like, it feels like the way to get scholarships, to get grants. It feels like if you slide AI in everything, right? But my students and I, we've really gotten on this. We work with something called Culture of Repair, and we've gotten on this repair kind of push, and we're starting to talk about reduction of e-waste, and we're starting to talk about like waste in general and like resources, and it's like, I know that someday, you know, like hard technology, not hardware and other things will come up in Hello World, because Hello World won't get stuck in the mires of AI. You know, so I like that. I like that too.
Yes, I think technically our next issue is about physical computing.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you go. Right? And it's just like, and I tell my kids, I'm like, it's all important. And so I'm a computer science teacher that was told I could never do computer science.
Oh,
like when
why?
I was growing up, because I just didn't like math. I wasn't very good at math. You know, I was in special ed till like 6th grade. I struggled as a learner. And when I was graduating, they were like, Julie, you like people. Maybe you should become an educator. And I was like, sure, because I got scholarships for this, right? So I was like, absolutely. But I've always used computers. Like I've always been on something, and I've always been tinkering and breaking. And when I became a computer science teacher, when I brought it to my school, there was a very rigid view of what computer science was. You know, computer science is coding. Computer science is when you sit in a cubicle and you just do SQL all day, when all you do is HTML, right? But since I've been teaching it for so long, I'm like, no, it is not. And I tell my students that all the time. I'm like, computer science is not just coding. And Hello World does a good job of like reinforcing that. So it's always nice to have somebody who's professionally publishing and being like, look, yeah, it's not. Look, they're doing hardware. See, look, they're talking about it, kids. Look, you know, you don't need to be the master of, you know, Python.
Yes.
Like what you need to do is you need to get those foundational skills, and this is a different way of thinking. And yes, some people are really good at Python, but thank God for the people that are good at user interface design, you know? And yes, some people are really good at user interface design, but if we didn't have those people that are good at like breaking it down and really thinking about the, you know, anyway.
Well, and like you said, your students learning how to actually repair things. We need people to actually repair stuff as well.
You know, like great. It's great that everybody knows how to do things, but I had this one kid, he's a genius and he's going to go far. And he kept entering these competitions and he always failed. And it was hilarious. It was hilarious in like a sad way.
Okay.
I'm his biggest fan, to be clear. He's a genius. And what he was doing is he was creating his own coding language and he was building his own CPUs. And he was entering these competitions. Like he entered the Congressional App Challenge. He entered all these things. And they kept coming back to him and being like, sorry, you're not doing as well. And I would be like, kid, I don't think you understand. You are a genius. You should go into engineering. You should go into like hardware, you know, designing. I'm like, they're grading apps and you are giving them a whole new language and they just, sweetheart, they don't speak that.
Yeah,
like they don't,
yeah,
like,
the world hasn't caught up
you know,
with him
they
yet.
haven't caught, and I'm like, and don't think that you're not as good. Like you are just as valued in computer science. Just understand that when you go to computer science, a professor's going to catch you and go, oh, we've got to, you know, put you to this field, as opposed to like the making apps.
Yes.
And I was like, have you ever tried making an app? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, what did you make? And he goes, I made an app that helps people understand Fortran. I was like, oh.
It's really light and breezy.
So light and breezy. And I'm like, I'm sure that was easy to explain, kid. And he's like, well, I mean, it was. I'm like, I'm sure it was. You know? He never got, he was so worried. He never got any awards and this and that. I was like, you'll do fine. You'll do fine. Because we spend so much time telling kids this is what it is, and they get worried. And, you know, we're also worried. No, it'll be fine, kid. You're a genius. Don't worry.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Julie, for joining us. I just feel like we could talk about so many things, but obviously, you know, I can't take more of your time. But
I mean, we can take all of his time. We could sit here for hours and hours.
Well, what I will say to our lovely audience is that if you want to read Julie's full article, please do, in our latest issue of Hello World. You can find it at helloworld.cc. That's also where you can find previous issues, which you can also read Julie's past article, and then also access podcasts and all kinds of fun stuff. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Bye.